So is it really important that the way we treat our wives will depend on how God answers our prayers?
Amen.
Next. And I skipped the part in Ephesians where it talks about wives being submissive to your husbands for a purpose. In Ephesians 5:25 it says, husbands, love your wives just as Christ loved the church and gave himself up for her, to make her holy, cleansing her by the washing with water through the word, and to present her to himself as a radiant church, without stain or wrinkle or any other blemish, but holy and blameless. Now, do we see that going on today in our society? Men that are saying, my wife is a perfect person. Well, you're not supposed to lie, but what instead we tend to see is, my wife is so lazy and she doesn't do anything around the house. I work all day long and I come home and she's not doing anything except watching TV or something like that. Is that honoring our wives when we do that? When we tear each other down? Now, women, you're not off the hook here, because I hear that women do the same thing. They go gossiping about how bad their husband is. And then other people will say, well, if he's that way, leave him. No wonder we got so much turmoil in our society today is that the marriage relationship between the husband and the wife, which is supposed to be sacred, the oath that we take is sacred, and yet it's so easily broken. When we get married, we say, till death do we part. And yet, it seems like it might have been just as well that you say, until we are not happy in our relationship, will we stay together? What is our commitment to one another? But the thing is, he says that in the same way husbands ought to love their own wives as their own bodies. He who loves his wife loves himself, after no one ever hated his own body, but they feed and care for it, care for their body, just as Christ does the church. For we are members of his body. For this reason, a man will leave his father and mother and be united to his wife, and the two will become one flesh. This is a profound mystery. Now, you were thinking that the Apostle Paul is talking about the relationship between the husband and wife, and that this whole thing is about analogy for the relationship between a man and a woman. But he says here, this is a profound mystery. But I am talking about Christ and the church. What a beautiful picture of Jesus Christ, who is the bridegroom, and his love for his wife, the church, and how he has loved the church with the agape love, the unconditional love. No matter what we have done in our life, he forgets them and still cherishes us no matter what we do. Isn't that a beautiful picture of our God? That he goes out of his way and pursues his love to us. He chases us down. Just like the story of the sheep, 100 sheep, right? and one's missing, and the shepherd goes out, leaves his rest of the flock in the fold, but goes out to look for that one. He pursues us because he loves us so much. However, each one of you must also love his wife as he loves himself. And the wife must respect her husband. That's a mutual respect. The husband loves his wife and respects her. And I think it has to be that the husband must initiate the love first.
Amen.
Because how can a woman submit to a husband that's not showing love to her? Jesus did that. He loved us. It is because he loved us first that we can learn to love him back and to have a relationship with him and to have a relationship with others. There's no way we can really learn what love is all about. We cannot learn to love other people, a truly agape love, a true agape love, until we understand God's love for us. To sum up, all of you be harmonious, sympathetic, brotherly, kind-hearted, and humble in spirit. Not returning evil for evil or insult for insult, but giving a blessing instead. How many times when someone makes fun of us, we want to retaliate and attack right back? You remember when Jesus was being mocked before he was crucified? They even spat upon him. And he took it off. And just recently I was reading about the whole part where he got whipped and had to carry his own cross up the hill. They said that he had no blood left because really all the blood was out of his body when he got up to the cross. His blood was gone. He poured out his blood for us. Most people would have died from the punishment that he went before he got to the cross. You remember what happened when after he died? The Roman soldier pierced him with the spear. And what happened? Blood and water came out. Jesus shed his blood for each and every one of us. Next. For the one who desires life must love and see good days, must keep his tongue from evil and his lips from speaking deceit. He must turn away from evil and do good. He must seek peace and pursue it. I think so many times we want to have like osmosis, you know. We get peace through just, I don't know, what's the difference between transcendental meditation or just meditating and expect peace to come? We have to pursue it. We have to chase after it. We have to desire it. For the eyes of the Lord are toward the righteous, and his ears attend to their prayers, but the face of the Lord is against those who do evil. Who is there to harm you if you prove zealous for what is good? But even if you should suffer for the sake of righteousness, you are blessed. And do not fear their intimidation, and do not be troubled, but sanctify Christ as Lord in your hearts. Always be ready to make a defense to everyone who asks you for you to give an account for the hope that is in you. Yet, with gentleness and reverence. You know, going to the senior center, there's a lot of times when people start talking about their faith or religion. And you know what's really sad is some people end up in this heated argument and they start yelling at each other. Now these are Christians that are yelling at each other because they don't believe the same way the other person does. And I just shake my head. Because both are wrong. If we're not loving the other person, it doesn't matter how right we are. But how many times we do that, we want to be right, and in being right, we have to force the other person to believe the same way we do. And when God looks at us, when we're doing that, He must just go, oh. Keep a good conscience. So in the thing in which you are slandered, those who revile your good behavior in Christ will be put to shame. For it is better, if God should will so, that you suffer for doing what is right rather than from what is wrong. For Christ also died for sin once for all, the just for the unjust, so that He might bring us to God, having been put to death in the flesh, but made alive in the Spirit. So the third part here is not that we just have the beauty on the inside. Because a lot of people can have beauty on the inside, but if we don't have the love of Christ and start sharing that with other people, then what good is it going to do? I think so many times we can be selfish with our faith. Well, I don't care about those guys. I'm going to go to heaven, and that's their. If they don't get to heaven, that's their fault. If we really have the love of God in our hearts, we need to be concerned about our community. We need to pray for those that are lost. And we need to make an effort to speak to those who do not know the Lord, so that they can come into the same kind of relationship with you. That's right. Father in heaven, we thank you so much of your wonderful plan for each and every one of us. Your plan that is because of your unconditional agape love, that you desire that none should perish but all come to repentance. And Lord, you just don't wave your hand and say, well, you're all okay. But you expect us, you have given us the ministry of reconciliation, the ministry of presenting the gospel to others. And if we don't speak up, they may never hear the truth about your word.